Opened in 1946, Richmond International Raceway has quickly become one of the tightest, most complicated tracks in both the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series and also in IndyCar racing as well. And it plays host to the 7th round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League here on RaceSpotTV. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Will Vincent along with Aaron Likens and Cam Walsh, as we're just a little under 5 minutes away from going racing here at the Bullring. The track of 14 degrees of banking, and Aaron, it measures about 0.75 miles per mile, and these laps tick off very quickly in the green. We do know very strong chance to a high number of cautions today.
Yeah, if warm-up was any sign, the flagman is definitely going to get a workout. I like the pace car's odds of perhaps leading the most laps today, again, that bonus point, but you're right, 3/4 of a mile here. Very tight, very technical, and this is a track that fatigue can become a factor. You're doing so fast here, under 14.5 seconds. It doesn't take much, just one slip to tap the wall out of turn 4, or the trouble spot we're going to see turn 2. Doesn't take much to clip the wall, and that's all it takes.
Not only the mental fatigue, but the physical fatigue as well. These drivers are pretty much turning left every 3.5-4 seconds, and these corners last a very long time. Cam, if you're on the green, very short amount of time to catch your breath.
Yes, and it's one of those tracks where it seems like it's never going to be an ending bowl, and that's going to be very interesting to see when these leaders start coming through lap traffic, just as we have done before on short ovals like Phoenix, so it'll be interesting to see what the leaders do.
So then, to run through your starting grid, it's going to be Tim Holgate starting on the front row with Joe Branch alongside of him, and then you're going to have Randy Crosno and Chuck Eisenbarth in row number 2. Row number 3, John Paulsek and Jonathan Goke. Row number 4, Courtney Tell and Vic Cordell. On to row number 5, and it's Brandon Trost and Brendan Lichtenberg with Brian Simpson and Neil McBride in row number 6. Then in row 7, Rob Ungerlinks and Tony Hellman and Christopher DeMera and Matt Kingsbury roll out on row number 8. William Power and Eric Davis in row 9, Dave Jinks and Ray Kingsbury in the 10th row of the grid. Then finally we have Austin Esparti and Ellis Stevens in the 11th row, Scott Manifold, Paul Jennings in row number 12. And then at the very rear of the field, Jean-Philippe Levesque rolls out on the 25th position. So then, ladies and gentlemen, we are set to go racing here today for a total of 160 laps. And Aaron, this track very quickly can bite people. Passing today, having talked to some drivers, can also be a very difficult situation.
Yeah, strategy here is going to be important. We may see, it's going to be tricky. If you're up front and we do get that usual just slew of cautions early, you may take a gamble and not pit, because if you go back and you get into the crunch zone, your fate is in other people's hands. Yet at the same time, of all tracks, this is the track you do not want to have to make a green flag pit stop on when everybody else does not.
Oh, that's just about like 2009 in what was then in the IndyCar series. Exactly the same thing happened. Some drivers pitted under green, caution came out, just 9 cars in the lead lap, and you can get pinned laps down very quickly here.
Yeah, you can make up 1 lap. You can get a wave around with 1 lap, but here you're going to lose at least 2 laps on a pit stop, and you cannot make that up. If somebody should make that up today, I will eat those words, but go 2 laps down, you're not coming back.
Plenty of onboards for you here today, as always. We've got one with good old Mr. Courtney Terrell running out today in the mid-pack. Then you've also got an onboard with Dave Jinks in the Broken Arrow machine, and on board with Randy Crosno, and finally we have got one with Joe Branch in that number 28 machine, starting on the outside of the front row of the grid. Cam, 2 pace laps here because the track measures less than 1 mile in length. Gives the drivers another 30 seconds or so to calm down, catch their breath before they go racing.
Yes, it is a calm before the storm, and hopefully we'll hit at least more than 10 laps before the first caution. That's going to be my bet.
Indeed so. So you can see their lights are now off on top of the iRacing.com first safety car. So we're going to go green flag racing this time by with Tim Holgate, who's been absolutely dominant again in the 16th Street Racing League, leading this race from the front. And it's a good chance that with the way that the weather is, the way the track temperature is, he's got a very good chance of defending that lead if he can get himself a good start to this race. Strategy, however, will be important. When guys come onto pit road, how they do so, that is going to be critically important. Get that wrong, good chance he'll be sat outside the top 10 before you know it. That pace car is going to make its journey down towards pit road. Ladies and gentlemen, the 7th round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League here on RaceSpotTV will start right now.
And already 2 cars, a little bit of contact, not too much, but Jonathan Goke was right up on Chuck Geisenbarth. May have been some contact there, so already the fireworks are beginning.
Yep, down in towards the back straight away for the first time. These guys now on cold tyres. They work themselves out to complete their first lap, and Holgate is classified as your race leader. There you can see him already with a gap over Joe Branch of about 7/10 of a second, Cam. That is exactly what he needed to do.
Yes, and he managed to get away very nicely. Joe Branch, he seemed to hold back quite a bit a ways on that second position. I'm wondering where he was trying to keep it safe. There were a couple of front-end bumps together, but ultimately I don't see anybody with damage so far.
Riding along board with Vic Cordell's, he's able to get himself past Brian Simpson in the 2 cars and move Vic Cordell up 1 spot. Already ourselves onto lap 4, Aaron. I talked about these laps ticking off quickly. You do them each less than 15 seconds under green.
Absolutely, and so far it looks like all these drivers have learned their lessons from Phoenix several weeks back. Lots of give and take so far, and that's one thing. This track is tighter, and the sense of speed is much faster than Phoenix, but passing here, if a car is there, they're going to take the line. You can't really defend it like you do other tracks, because once that car gets their nose on the inside, it's really their corner.
And you saw there Chuck Geisenbarth making a pass with Noel McBride on his outside there. Out front, Holgate's already got that gap up to 1.1 second. But Randy Krosno right now runs in that 3rd position under pressure and being passed by John Polzek to move himself now up into 3rd. Krosno on the high line, and that allows Courtney Tell to go past as well. Brandon Trost now looks down to his inside. That is the issue, Aaron. You get yourself hung out to dry on the outside line, you can lose 2 positions very, very quickly, and Krosno is on the way back.
Going for the crossover, but that outside line, Courtney Terrell, what a run on the outside there. Very hard and very brave being on the outside in turn 2. You hear when IndyCar drivers ran here and NASCAR, turn 2 really drops off on the exit and it just sucks you into that wall. But right now, Courtney Terrell's car is really good. But going back to your point, Will, if you're going to make a pass, you have to make sure you complete it. Whereas other tracks, if you lose momentum, you can sort of regain it. This track, it can take you 2-3 laps to get your rhythm and momentum back. So a botched pass could cost you 1, 2, or maybe even more positions.
We've got side-by-side racing going on right now between Eric Davis and Tony Hillerman. This is down in the pack. You've also got Christopher DeMerit in this battle as well. Good battles all the way through the field as we complete the first 10 laps under green, Cam.
Yes, and we have gotten that ray mark. All right, I am enjoying it as we do have multiple cars going 2 wide there. Christopher DeMerit and Tony Helmenine showing us that there might be 2 lanes here, but they are back in 17th place, quite a ways away. I think they're trading too many spots together and slowing each other down. That's kind of one thing you also want to focus on. You don't want to be wrestling with other people this early on in the race.
And Cam, I have to apologize for laughing when you said let's get 10 laps in green. We did it, so I apologize for that laughter. We made it.
Yeah,
we did. High five.
As we now work ourselves into lap number 14, and here you can see Rob Underlings looking down to the inside and completing the pass there on Brian Simpson. They work themselves back down in towards turn number 1 once again. Underlings and that 20 car move him now solidly inside the top 10, Aaron.
Yeah, very good run so far, now inside the top 10, and this is the moment in time where the car is going to start handling a little bit different. I was observing warm-up, and first 10 laps, cars, first 15, 20 laps, cars went straight, and then people just started snap oversteer out of turn 2, and we got our first caution of the race.
And it's one of the last lap motorsports cars there. It is, which one of the, it's
Matt Kingsbury.
Matt Kingsbury, our first caution of the day there. With a total, let's have a look, get ourselves a replay of him, figure out what
he got away with one.
Let's try and figure out what happened then. Replay up, this is number 21 car coming down in towards turn number 1 and 2. Looks all fine at this point, and then he comes out the corner, just loops it around, slows it down, And it was the second part of that when that car looped it, but it's really what they can. The only other option would have been slamming that inside wall in on the exit of turn number 2. Kingsbury dodges a bullet. Aaron.
Yeah, he dodges a bullet, but he does go a lap down as our leaders are coming into the pit, so he may get the wave around, but it's kind of odd that the second that I mention that you can get that snap oversteer off of turn 2, that's exactly what happened.
So then here the cars come down towards pit road for the first time to get themselves some fresh boots. There you can see Holgate, you came in with the race lead nicely into his box. You got Joe Branch right behind him there as well. Get the pit time up for Tim Holgate. 7.4 seconds out and away. Joe Branch, a slightly slower stop, and Paulzek tries to go down to the inside of him. However, Branch will get out just ahead. A couple of people decided not to stop that time by. We'll get confirmation of who they are. Lichtenberg, McBride, Holloman, and Kingsbury. Now, these guys, I think some of them might get the wave around, Aaron.
They might, but developing story here, as the yellow came out and as Kingsbury was getting straightened out, Courtney Terrell hit the wall off of turn 2. He sort of got snap oversteer and didn't save it and hit the outside wall. So at the same time, and that would have been under the caution flag, but Courtney Terrell, who I think might have had the strongest car here, is now out of this race.
So let's see if we can figure out what happened to Courtney Terrell then. We'll go on board with him. And there you can see trouble in turn number 2, smacking the wall. He is out of the race cam. Courtney Terrell's bad luck in the series continues once again.
Yes, absolutely terrible to have these sorts of things happen, especially once again, this early on in the race. Courtney was doing a very good job moving his car through the field, and you do hate to see retirement this early, but I guess it's one of those things where you keep on kicking the can down the street and say it's always next week.
There you can see another look at that. Courtney Terrell out of the race. And we saw, of course, Matt Kingsbury. He was the driver with the brought out the caution. And he was able to recover his number 21 car without any damage to get himself some fresh boots. And he is back out and away onto the racetrack. Brendan Lichtenberg then will be bringing the field back to Green Flag Racing here in the Broken Arrow car. We ride on board with him then. And one car is going to get the wave around out. And that is indeed the number 21 car.
Yes, and on this restart, he's going to have to be very, very edgy on that on the gas pedal. These tires, unlike the old car, those tires, you could just abuse them. They didn't care. These tires, if you really heat them up in a skid, they're done. They don't want to play anymore. So for Kingsbury on this next run, he's got to be hoping for a quick yellow so he can come in and change those tires, because right now these next laps coming up are going to be perhaps some of the most treacherous he has driven.
Of course, we had that back a little bit earlier on this season with Kingsbury, so that's one that he will be aware of. So we've got our aerial coverage here, powered by iRaceForLife.org, as he works himself back around, getting himself a little bit of heat into those tyres, and he will hope for a quick yellow. Otherwise, he will be falling down a lap again before you know it.
And another thing, well, as I think we're one to green, but for Holgate right now, he has 4 cars in front of him. This is his first time in dirty air. He's not really racing those 4 cars. 2 different strategies, yet at the same time, can Joe Branch pressure him? This would be Joe's time to get around.
So then, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ourselves ready for the restart here at Richmond International Raceway. That pace car comes onto pit road, green flag back in the air. We are back to racing. Good start there by Lichtenberg. Now McBride tucks in right behind him. Tony Hillerman in the 3rd position. Then Kingsbury and Holgate as they all come down in towards turn number 3 and 4. And Holgate looking down to the inside already. And he gets himself past Kingsbury Ray as they come down to complete lap number 22, Cam.
Yes, and that was Ray Kingsbury letting Tim Holgate by, getting on the comms, but it doesn't look like Tony Halmaline's trying to let him get by on the inside, but Tim is just going to take that position away, robbing them, both of themselves, of momentum and creating a rather large gap between the car in front of them, Niall McBride. So it'll be interesting to see how Tim can manage to work this inside line.
We ride along board then with Tim Holgate in that number 6 car. You can see there the number 55 machine on Tony Holloman is just to his outside, and Holgate not able to do anything about it. And that is exactly what you meant, Aaron. A car that works well in clean air doesn't necessarily work well in traffic.
And another thing for Holgate right now, he's got to take control of his emotions. There is nothing more aggravating to know you have the best car on track, and due to split strategy, you're stuck behind people. You got to take a breath and go, okay, those people are lighter on fuel. I don't need to push it. Don't run my race
caution
yellow.
is out, and yes, it's Ray Kingsbury this time. So one Kingsbury, then another, and there you can see caution is out for the second time. Replay up on your screen. Let's see what happens here. I believe it's out of turn number 2 again. Side-by-side racing, up in the grey. Car loops it around, slams into the wall. Pretty much the same spot as his brother, just wasn't able to save his car that time by Aaron.
Nope, almost the same thing, so obviously you got to think they're running the same setup, but one Kingsbury's misfortune is the other, because now Matt is going to be able to get the tires he needed. So one brother's misfortune is another's lucky break.
So, 2 cautions in the early going then, both caused by someone with the name Kingsbury. We're going to take this a quick moment, ladies and gentlemen, to step aside as they are both on pit road. Everyone else stays out on the racetrack. We'll be back in just one moment. After these messages, you are watching RaceSpotTV, and it is, of course, the 16th Street Racing League. We'll be right back. Getting set for the restart here on RaceSpotTV, continuing coverage of the 7th round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League. As it is Brendan Lichtenberg who continues to lead the way with about a lap and a half to go. And Aaron, we've got ourselves an interesting situation developing here, as we are about a lap and a half away from the restart. Split strategy, Holgate in that car moving himself up into second position. However, he's still got one person to get around, and he's restarting on the outside for the restart.
Yeah, Brent Lichtenberg, I don't believe has pitted yet, which here, you can go a long time on fuel. So, tires though, let's see, one of the Kingsbury that brought out the yellow, he really fell back through the field in that run. So, perhaps tires here could be a little bit more important than we think. So, going to be interested to see how well Brendan fights off Holgate.
So there you can see the cars working themselves on to get the 1 to go signal this time by. Getting the word there. Actually, no, I take that back. The pace car is in, and we're going to go back now for the restart. Green flag back in the air. 31 laps, scored complete. Down in towards 1. All these cars holding the inside line. And I must say that Holgate, very lucky there to stay inside the draft on the restart. We right along board of him, Cam, as they work themselves down in towards 3 and 4.
Yes, now he had a rocket start last restart. This time, though, he's coming right up on Brendan Lichtenberg. It'll be interesting to see, because Brendan Lichtenberg seems to be doing a very good job of defending that inside line.
Oh, we got trouble.
Porzak up and around. Caution back out. Caution is back out as John Porzak is out, up and around. So He is going to be classified as out of the race. Get the replay up on your screen.
These two cars have been battling every single lap of this race. It was getting heated between Porzak and Trost, and Trost just clips the yellow line, it looks like, and goes up and traverses into Porzak's lane. And for Porzak, race over.
Yep, and there you can see John Porzak, it's game over, Cam.
Yes, and for John, he did a good job in qualifying. He did qualify in 5th position. He fell back through the field, especially with the qualifying, and you just hate to see these people like Courtney Terrell and John Porzak good off, but these things do happen in the racing. Now, of note, with this caution coming out, okay, now it's reset. I thought Tim Holgate actually beat Brendan Lichtenberg on the outside to the caution, but he did not. So now Brendan Lichtenberg is still our leader here under caution.
Yep. Lichtenberg leads then from Tim Holgate. Ladies and gentlemen, that gives us ample time to step aside for one more moment. Stick with us, we'll be right back. Let's fix a quick issue. You're watching RaceSpotTV.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome back then to Richmond International Raceways. We're working ourselves under our third caution of the day, having a look from the rear of Brendan Lichtenberg. No takers onto pit road that time by Aaron, but Lichtenberg now has led himself a total of 18 laps, matching the steps in the early going by Tim Holgate.
And if he gets enough yellows, his strategy may just work out. At the rate we're going, it may seem like we're going to get that. And, you know, the first 15 laps went just fine, and now, yellow flag frenzy.
Yeah, and to give you an update on drivers classified out of the race, you have yourself John Porzak, the latest victim. Ray Kingsbury's on pit road. Courtney Tell is classified as out of the race as well. A couple of non-starters: Courtney Tell, Scott Manifold, Jean-Philippe Levesque, Alice Stevens, and Will Power deciding to not race. I'd rather go running around on scooters or something else. And Cam, getting ourselves ready for the restart there. You can see those lights are off on top of the pace car. Lichtenberg, he needs to get himself a good start this time.
Yes, and he has done a good job of it, but Tim Holgate is very experienced, having done this all at Phoenix. We had many restarts at Phoenix, but Tim Holgate wasn't the leader most of those times. We'll see what Brendan's able to do to get away from Tim this time by.
So then, there you can see the lights are off on the pace car, getting set for the restart here at Richmond International Raceway. There is the view from Brendan Lichtenberg as he begins to accelerate up. Green flag back in the air. We are back to racing at Richmond. Good restart that time by, but you can see that already you've got Holgate stuck right with him behind. Joe Branch battling with Jonathan Goke for position as these guys are going side by side. Goke on the inside trying to get himself past Joe Branch in the battle for P4, and it looks like he's going to complete that one down into one.
Bad restart for Joe Branch, getting passed by both Goke and Brandon Trost, who is on the move. We do have a lead change. Holgate has taken the lead, and I don't think it's going to be long before Brandon Trost, he's going to be there. This turn, maybe, no, I'm going to think better of it, but going down the back straightaway, I think Brandon Trost is going to be our new second place runner.
As we ride along board with Trost then, as he works himself down in towards 3 and 4, he's got that inside line, and it's going to be an easy pass there from the number 66 car as he moves himself back up.
Crossover.
And Lichtenberg's going to try the crossover. And on that outside line, can Trost hold it? He's got fresher tyres. Brandon Trost able to hold on there, Cam, to stay in P2.
Yes, and Brandon Trost has been doing it progressively better over and over these oval course races and these oval track races here. He's able to muscle his car under the nose on the inside there, gave each other enough room, but the problem is that they let Tim Holgate absolutely go now. Massive gap between him and Brandon Trost.
1.3 seconds it is now between Tim Holgate and Brandon Trost. That's not necessarily a bad thing though, Aaron, because if you can just keep your tyres nice and cool, don't have to worry about that dirty air. Trost is actually in a better position than anyone would really give him credit for right now.
Oh, absolutely. If you run behind a car, man, you can just cook those tires, and on the latter half of the run, well, we've seen right now, it seems about lap 15 to 18 is the danger time of when cars really start getting fidgety or just spinning off a turn 2. So you really don't want to be behind somebody at this moment. You want your car to be as settled as possible. Right now, Trost on an island all to himself. Good distance between the cars in front and behind. So right now, he can just focus on his line and start thinking about the end game.
Christopher DeMeritt there getting himself past Tony Hullonen in the battle for the 12th spot on the racetrack in that 144 team of the Velociraptor car. That's just ahead of him. You can see Neil McBride trying to close up to the rear of Rob Unglings in the battle for P10 on the racetrack. Joe Branch and Lichtenberg are now battling as rider on board with Joe Branch. And of course, Lichtenberg, if this race goes green, Cam, he's going to be in a world of issues in just 10 laps time.
Absolutely, he is going to have to come in and get some fuel for that car, which is going to be an extraordinarily bad thing coming up soon. He might be able to hold out for a couple of more laps and possibly get a caution, but now everybody's starting to spread out. Everyone's starting to get into the rhythm. I just don't see it happening just yet.
The secondary issue is, though, for Branch, is that once these tyres get warmed up, we talked about it at the top of the broadcast, it can be very difficult to make a pass. So, Aaron, for people like Eric Davis right up behind Randy Crosno, and of course also for Joe Branch, who's actually dropped off half a second this past lap, it's a case of really, if you can't make the pass, go automatically into tyre management strategy.
Yeah, there's the old saying you can't win the race in turn 1, but on these restarts, with the way the tires heat up in the dirty air, you really do have to go for it on these restarts. You really do. If you get stuck behind somebody that you are faster than, you might not be able to do anything about it.
Brian R. Simpson is in the wall, exiting turn number 2. He has tapped the outside wall, tapping the inside wall, and he is bringing that car into pit lane, definitely wounded.
Yep, so that's
he's going to be out of the race, and he did take the commitment cone with him.
Yep, so send your regards to the commitment cone. He got himself just on that yellow line there, Aaron. That pushed the car up on the racetrack, puts him out of the race. We'll get one more look on board of him.
Turn two here is one of the trickiest corners in all the ovals we go to. You want to sort of have it. It's so deceiving from the driver's seat. You got to funnel yourself in, come up a little bit, and sort of clip the apex going out. If you start off too high, you're going to be high the entire way through the corner and hit the wall. Now, if you early apex it and you clip that yellow line, end result, you're going to be in the wall out of 2.
Brandon Trost is now 2.5 seconds back.
Speaking of that, Christopher DeMeritt has spun it coming out of turn number 2 just as we were talking about it.
Yep, so DeMeritt then losing his car, bringing out our 4th caution of the day. Now, this actually worked for Lichtenberg because he's now kind of on the same strategy as everyone else again. He was able to hold on, make track position work for him. Christopher DeMeritt, replay of that one is coming on up, Aaron.
Yeah, very good for DeMeritt. Well, for DeMeritt, very fortunate he got away with it, just like Kingsbury did earlier in the race. However, once again, DeMeritt is 1 lap down. But for Lichtenberg, very fortunate break. You don't want to make a green flag pit stop here, but he is going to have to take more fuel than his competitors.
Yeah, that might shuffle him back a little bit. So there you can see another look. Good DeMeritt just looping it around in turn number 2. Didn't touch anything, just get himself some very heated tyres as the cars all now come down on towards pit road. And here you can see Holgate is leading them on in.
Yes, it's Holgate followed by Trost, Brendan Lichtenberg, of course, in Joe Branch, Jonathan Goke, Vic Caudell, Austin Espedy, Randy Krasno, basically everybody but well, Christopher Demerit, actually. Every single car in the field is coming down pit lane, and is going to be getting new tires, new fuel, and we'll see how they all come out.
So, Holgate leads him off the pit road then, 6.9 seconds. We'll try and figure out where Trost did. As you see, he will come out in the second position. Lichtenberg does actually hold on to third place, so his very lucky strategy works. Joe Branch just comes out ahead of Jonathan Goke as they round out your top 5 as cars come back out from pit road. So, Aaron, did work out when all was said and done then from Lichtenberg in the number 12 Broken Arrow machine.
Yeah, very good. Qualified 10th, running 3rd, so we can say right now that strategy did pay some really good dividends, and his car does have the speed. However, now he will be on a full tank in traffic once again, so we'll see, maybe made a little bit of adjustments to maybe have a little bit more speed than he did in qualifying. And for Brandon Trost, he has been getting good restarts so far, although this season, at least at Phoenix, we saw Tim Holgate, he always mixed it up on the restarts. You really never knew where he was going to go. So for Trost, will he be able to time it right? Because if he does, you know Brandon's going to be going for the lead.
Your lap leaders in the race so far today, it's been Tim Holgate leading 38 laps. Brendan Lichtenberg has led a total of 21, with basically just 2 different leaders, a total of 3 different lead changes. And just getting confirmation that Ray Kingsbury is still scored on pit road. There you can see him. Damaged car, also a damaged car for Brian Simpson, because though both of their days are done, Aaron.
Yep, and really, I have to admit, I am shocked that we still have 17 cars shown on the lead lap. Demerit is going to get the wave around, which he is going to have to be wary. His tires, he did do a complete 360, so his tires are going to, well, they're not going to want to play anymore, so he's going to have to be really, really timid. But I think if we can get past the first 5 laps, we are going to have that green flag feel to it up until about lap 15, lap 20, when the tires heat up and turn 2 becomes an ice rink.
Yep. And for Demerit, it's all going to be about holding on, Cam.
Yes, and it will be interesting to see what Demerit is going to be doing here as we are getting ready to go green. But we were talking about Tim Holgate on these restarts. Now, here at Phoenix, we had a little bit of a front straight. Now here, there's a little bit of a turn before they start hitting the gas. So it's going to be interesting to see exiting turn 4 where Tim Holgate's going to hit the accelerator.
Indeed so. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, Monday nights are Skip Barber nights here on RaceSpotTV. And it means we go racing with the club UKNI Skip Barber Racing School Championship. That's every Monday night, and that will be exclusively here on RaceSpotTV. This week, it's from Donington Park. Meanwhile, you've got Tim Holgate now scored on the front position as we get ourselves ready for the restart here, including our 4th caution of the day. Here you can see he is about to let it rip. Will Trost be able to time that restart well? A good early start there by Holgate. Green flag back in the air. 62 laps scored complete. And I tell you what, Raj got a great restart that time by right up on the rear of Lichtenberg, right on board of him, Aaron.
Yeah, much better restart for Branch this time than the previous time. Last restart, he did lose 2 positions. This time, no positions lost, but behind him now, Jonathan Goke has a run. Not going to be able to do anything this time, and that's a tricky thing. If you get too close to the car in front of you on entry, you lose the front downforce. That's what just happened behind Branch with Jonathan Goke there.
As we ride on board of Austin Espartee, he's currently scored in the 7th position. You can see just ahead, Joe Goose looking down to the inside. Oh, Vic Cordell moved Goke up 1 position. Cordell on the inside. He will make that move stick and actually move Cordell up a position, Cam.
Yes, and these guys are nosing one time and another coming in, and Vic Cardell almost thought about slamming the door right in Jonathan Goke's nose cone, but that did not fly as Goke now losing momentum, and Austin Espedy tried to come in, and Eric Davis almost being an opportunistic on the inside of Austin Espedy. This momentum is absolutely vital here at Richmond, I tell you that.
As Eric Davis then trying to move up 1 position as he's riding side by side with Austin Espartee. Down they come towards 3 and 4, and somehow the 2 don't make contact, but Davis loses time, loses momentum, and that puts him now under pressure from teammate Randy Crosno as they come back out of 2, Aaron.
Yeah, I don't think Randy Crosno is going to be too pleased with that move. Davis lost a lot of momentum and then came down the straightaway, preventing any chance from Crosno. Crosno may have been able to make an attempt there, so Crosno might not have thought that was the best move there.
Meanwhile, though, you can see already that Tim Holgate has got a rather substantial lead over Brandon Trost. Back up to 1 second on the racetrack, Cam, and Holgate doing what he does best on these restarts, just pulling away.
Yes, he set it up perfectly. Brandon showed nothing but aggression. You got right behind, and Tim Holgate held him for about 2 seconds longer than they have before. And that was enough to get an absolute perfect launch, as Tim Holgate once again showing us that he's pretty much the master of these restarts here.
Running on board with Paul Jennings in the number 74 car as he's trying to find a way past Tony Hulleman, and also, in fact, no, Hulleman going past Rob Ungling. You see that on your screen. And Ungling's doing the crossover. Good battles going on outside this top 10, Aaron.
Yeah, the crossover move, when you have a perfect crossover move, I don't know if there's any pass that is sweeter. And here comes Tony back to the inside. Let's see if we have another crossover. Oh, can't really get it done on the inside. And when you do get to the inside, one of the things you got to be aware of, you can really get the rear end sucked around. That's what we saw with Eric Davis earlier. You just lose so much of the rear downforce when you're side by side that the car just wants to shoot around and you have to lift off the gas. And when you do that, you lose the front downforce. So really, when you're stuck on the inside, you can lose it both ways.
Yeah, and they continue to battle. But a little bit further ahead on the racetrack, you can see Branch has caught back up to the rear of Brendan Lichtenberg, Cam, in this battle for P3 on the racetrack. Now, Lichtenberg was able to put a gap on a little bit earlier on, but now it does look as though that it is this guy, Joe Branch, closing back up to him again. That gap, about half a second on the racetrack.
Yes, and they're running lap times within, very close to one another, as Brendan Lichtenberg actually able to pull out a little bit of a gap. It's very good on Brendan Lichtenberg to have that, I don't know if I'd call it a strategy per se, but that plan that he lucked into is working out for him, as he seems to be in quite a good control of that position 3.
Rob Ungling's losing the position again to Paul Jennings, so those lot continue to battle for position outside of your top 10. Branch, of course, having that battle, but Trost has actually been able to put a gap of his own now over Brendan Lichtenberg in this battle for P2. So Trost doing a very good job just running in that second spot for the time being, Aaron.
Yep, once again on an island of his own, and at Richmond, anytime you can say you have clean air and not in a battle, you're doing okay. So Brandon Trost right now just logging laps, and should anything happen to Holgate, should Holgate slip, he's still 1.5 seconds behind, but he is still within distance, and should we get those green flag pit stops, well, here 1.5 seconds is nothing.
Now, it's interesting to note that this field has kind of started to spread out again, Cam. Battles have calmed down. It's now going to be about tyre management.
Yes, it is. And Tim Holgate now on the same stretch as Dave Jinks, our final running car in position number 17. Tim Holgate will be able to catch up to him in about 2 laps time, and then the entire different chapter will start in leading the race as Christopher Demerit goes onto the inside of Rob Ungelix. We'll see these battles in the back half of this pack. Will it impact Tim Holgate and allow Brandon Trost to catch up?
And also, we need to remember the fact that these guys have got their in-car tools they can use, and for Holgate, he's probably on them right now, because you've got that anti-roll bar, both front and rear, and you've also, of course, Aaron, got yourself that weight jacker. You'll be using those tools throughout the course of this race, especially if you're coming from being in clean air to being in traffic. Cautions out.
Goke. Oh, we got
Turn
3 or
2.
4 cars involved. Goke is involved. Somebody is doing the death roll right there.
Yeah,
I
it's
believe
Paul
that's
Jennings.
Started
Jennings.
with
That's
Goke
right.
out of 2. He was the precipitator, got stuck on the wall, suspension bent, and then got brought. Oh, wow, that's second car in there. Yellow had been out for so long. Wow.
So now you can see Goke riding the wall there, and that car slamming into the wall, and he stops it still, and then Jennings just comes out of nowhere, and that pushes Goke down the racetrack, and then I believe one of the Kingsburys then made a secondary contact as well. Jennings just came in with a huge head of steam there.
Yeah, and one thing, we may want to look at Paul Jennings on board. Interesting thing here, from his onboard view, there's no way he could have known Goke was there. The seas parted in front of him, and all of a sudden, there was Goke. And my goodness, Jennings went for a ride.
Yep, so let's have a look then from Paul Jennings's perspective in that number 74 car. By the way, cars are on pit road, and this is where we need to get away from this replay. We apologise if anyone isn't very happy with seeing moving cars fly very quickly, but cars are onto pit road, and there you can see Tim Holgate once again getting himself 4 fresh tyres, topping himself up with race fuel, and he is back out and away. Now let's see where Trost is. He comes out in second, so no one really being able to do much on this real pit road battle, but I'd say that as Branch and Cordell come out side by side, Cam.
Yes, and it's good to see these guys coming in. They might start thinking about taking on different traditional fuel strategies. Now these cautions are starting to space themselves out. Now that accident, very unfortunate. Jonathan Goke, Paul Jennings, and I believe that was Matt Kingsbury. But this field is getting thinner by the laps, and well, now Tim Holgate's not going to have to worry about that lap traffic anymore. He should be able to pull out another gap, I would hope.
So then, we're working ourselves under caution here on RaceSpotTV. We're going to go step aside for just one moment. We shall be right back.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com has officially begun. It's all in control of Brad Davies in that 11 machine. Green flag flies. He's damn near banged up though. Now the 93 is going to push the 4 to Brian Day all the way up the wall. 4 wide down the super stretch going to the turn. And now the 93 39, the 3 machine goes around. Big trouble in the back. It's the race for the win up front.
Look behind him. They're 3 and 4 wide, trying to make a push to the front as the field gains speed in turn number 1. Kenny Humphrey, if he can rip it back to the start finish line, will win here at Daytona.
7 laps to go. As you love it.
Here we go.
You love it. The 1 gets around. The 5 gets around. Big jump.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to continuing coverage here on RaceSpotTV of the 7th round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League. Lichtenberg on that restart stays out again, Aaron.
Yeah, stays out again, so he must know something we don't, because I know I would have come into the pits. You can't afford a green flag pit stop, but it worked out once. Will it work out again?
So that's the thing, though. It sometimes does work. The later you get into a race, though, Cam, the more difficult it is to pull off an alternate strategy.
Yes, I was really thinking that he was going to hop on to the normal strategy that everyone else is running and take that 3rd position or wherever May came to him, but I'm just not sure. We do have a thinning field. We've only probably got 15 cars running on the track, which, well, quite a lot. There's not a lot of people to fight each other, so I just don't see, unless somebody loses it coming out of 2, another yellow coming by anytime soon.
So then it is going to be Brendan Lichtenberg bringing the field back to the green flag for this restart here at Richmond International Raceway. Holgate in 2nd, Brandon Trace in 3rd, then Joe Branch and Vic Cordell round out your top 5 as the green flag is back out. We are back to racing. Very subdued restart that time by Aaron. Branch with a good start, trying to work onto the rear of Brandon Trost. Not really able to do anything about it. This field gets very spread out very quickly.
Yeah, a slower restart, and I don't think anybody was prepared for that. That being said, nobody really got a jump, but here comes Holgate. He wants the race lead back to the inside of turn 3. Holgate back to the point.
Yep, so move Tim Holgate back up into your race lead then. It didn't last long, and this is that thing. With 93 laps now scored complete, Cam, it's not going to necessarily work as well for Lichtenberg. If he falls down this pack, then it's going to be game over for him. And he really should have been on that same sequence as everyone else, because that way he would have had a fighting chance. And we know that if Holgate can break away, like he's already done, there's nothing that anyone can do to touch him.
Yes, and sometimes you just have to let the leader go. Tim Holgate has been showing himself very dominant. Brendan Lichtenberg, I don't know why he didn't take a full tank of fuel, because now it's kicking the can further down the road and giving yourself more options in the future. Right now, in your middle stint, you're taking away all of your strategy, and you're basically saying, I have to depend on a yellow in order to stay on the lead lap. I'm just not sure that's a good idea.
Having a look on board with Matt Kingsbury, of course, involved in the first caution of the day. He's been able to work himself back up now into the 11th spot from where he qualified. And he's trying to battle with Tony Holman in the battle for the 10th position. Kingsbury looking to get himself back into the top 10, Aaron.
Yes, he is, and for Kingsbury, he had a spin, and now we're in 11th trying to run down, so the fact that he's still just in this race, well, we've seen 2 drivers spin and stay in, but anytime you spin and stay in, you count your blessings, and any points he can gain is essentially just bonus points now, because for all intents and purposes, he should have been out of this race. It isn't very often you spin one of these cars and stay in the race.
Vic Cordell battling with Joe Branch to be in the 4th position right now. Cordell's doing himself a nice little job in that position. About 2 tenths of a second behind Joe Branch as it stands right now. These 2 guys look very evenly matched, Cam.
Yes, they are putting lap after lap. They're running about, well, very low 15s, which has got nothing on what the leaders are hitting right now. But I think these 2 are learning very quickly. It's smart not to fight each other. Roll through these corners and see if you can stay behind Brandon Trost and see what develops.
And this is that battle, as you see, for P4 on the racetrack. Things again have settled down very quickly. But towards the rear of the field, Rob Unglink battling it out with Christopher Demerit. Of course, Demerit's been involved in one of the cautions early on. As we ride along board with Job Unglink, he did try to get past Demerit that time, but wasn't able to do so, Aaron.
And anytime you can't make the pass, we got a
trouble.
yellow, now McBride.
Yep, so there you can see now McBride high on the outside line. That'll bring out our 5th caution of the day. Replay coming up, and this is our first one actually on the outside. Let's see whether there was contact involved with that one. Holman looked down to the inside. Yep, just spinning McBride around. That's going to be him out of the race. We'll get one more look from on board of him.
And the thing going into turn 3, if you are going to make a pass, you can drive it in late, and you are relying on the car in front of you to realize that you're going to know that he's coming through. That was a late move, but he had committed to it, so, man, that tough break there for Nell McBride.
Get one more look from our aerial coverage then, down in towards 3 and 4. And you'll see right at this point, you'll have Holman come alongside him. Now, he did come in, and then just the slightest of contact between the 2. Now McBride pushed out, and that is his day done, Cam.
Yes, and another driver retiring. That's another bad time here. Lap 102. We've only got about 60 laps to go. Oh, 58 laps to go. And very unfortunate for Lionel McBride, only going to be finishing in the highest of 15th.
But pit road is open. All these guys, including Lichtenberg, comes in this time, Brian. There you can see Lichtenberg, and there you can see Holgate is already out. Holgate's just been a master of pitting today, Aaron.
Yeah, yes, he has, and that's one thing last season that really cost him, perhaps cost him the championship, were those minor mistakes in pit lane. He's really, well, he's really got on that and fixed those issues. Today, been flawless.
So then, getting ourselves to close to the 50-lap warning. This race has gone very quickly, Aaron. At the same time, broken up by a lot of cautions. Now we're into that home stretch. Do you think we're going to get ourselves a green flag run, or maybe 20, 25 plus laps going on here?
Yeah, I think 20, 25 laps is the magic number, and that's when the cars, I think if you don't have the setup right, the car is going to handle good for the first 15, 20 laps, and I think you heat up the right rear tire, and that's what's causing these cars to spin to the inside. So I'm expecting 20, 25 laps, so I still think we got one yellow left in us.
And I'm sorry to butt in. Vic Caudell has lost 2 positions, actually, on pits. He stopped before his stall and actually was expecting them to service. He had to pull his car up in the pit lane, so at least one car having issues in the pits.
Well, he's an old guy, so, you know, he's used to it. In fact, what it was, he was doing a 2-stage drive-through, so he had to pay at the first one and then go and get himself topped up afterwards. I believe that might have been a habit burger he was after. But, Aaron, Vic Cordell losing 2 positions there to Austin Espartee and his teammate Eric Davis.
And how rude of the pit stall that he pitted in not to service his car. I mean, he's there. The least that crew could have done is at least assisted him, but no, not the case. Gonna lose 2 spots, but probably the most entertaining driver to watch this race so far has been Vic. His passes have been great. He's been very aggressive, very clean, so it's probably going to be a treat watching him try to get those 2 positions back.
So, getting ourselves back ready for another restart here. As you can see, though, those lights are still on top of the Eisen.com first safety car. And now they go out, and that means 1 to go, Cam.
Yes, and once again, we were going to see Tim Holgate have to reach into that checkbook one more time and see if he can't cash another great restart out. Brandon Trost, he had to do probably a half dozen or so restarts at Phoenix. He's got to do these restarts here at Richmond. Don't make fun of my puns. And we'll see if Brandon Trost is going to be able to finally dial one in and pull one over on Tim Holgate, but I just don't see it happening.
No, and of course, Aaron, leader prerogative, you go when you want to.
Yeah, I'm amazed we don't see drivers in second place try to jump the leader. As long as you're behind at the finish line, you're good as, wow, what a start by Holgate. Look at that.
Green flag back out. 108 laps will be scored complete this time by, and I tell you what, Branch getting a much better run. He's down to the inside, and he has passed Lichtenberg that time by. Moved Branch up into the 3rd position. No, because now you can see that Lichtenberg going back round, and Aaron, that time by, we've got full use of our 360 cam.
What a move by Lichtenberg, and here comes Branch back to the inside. He's going to complete the pass, but out of 4, will Lichtenberg be able to pull another crossover? No. Not that time, maybe.
That is short track racing at its very, very best, Aaron.
Yeah, as Cam said, thought of it, but thankfully thought better of it. Had he gone for that move, I think the pace car would have led some more laps.
Vic Cordell, who's right behind his teammate Eric Davis. He's been able to get himself past Osman Espati Cam, where he lost that stop to on pit road. Now he's stuck behind his teammate, the number 65 machine of Eric Davis.
Yes, we'll see. Vic has been doing very well on this low side. He's got a very good car set up that way. Obviously, these two teammates are going to be building setups together as Vic Cordell just makes it look easy. Eric could have just realized he's faster, let the fast teammate go, and let him go hunt down Brendan Lichtenberg, who is squarely in 4th place ahead of him.
Rob Ungelinks is battling with Matt Kingsbury, Christopher Demerit for positions, and now Demerit looks down to the inside as they come down in towards turn number 2. Oh, trouble! And that same place for Demerit, he lost it earlier. That time he did get helped around, Aaron.
Oh, did get help, and he came up high. They were side by side. That's where the spotter might have said clear, but you weren't clear.
There's a replay then for Christopher Demerit, and again, he does avoid all contact with the wall. Question is, did he get any suspension damage from that hit from behind, Cam?
I see no damage right now on the rear wing of his car. Not sure of any idea what happened with the suspension. Christopher Demerit, though, in the chat apologizing for the contact.
But this time, however, he did spin. He did stay on the lead lap, so this time he is not going to go a lap down.
So let's get ourselves one more look then. We slow it down as it's right there. The 2 make contact. Christopher Demerit using our super slow-mo cam there. Just getting himself spun around and again keeping himself out of harm's way. And that's the important thing. He's on the lead lap, so he doesn't have to worry about driving around on worn tyres, Aaron. He's good to pit with everyone else, and they are on pit road? No, but Demerit is.
Vic Cordell went into the pits. Matty Kingsbury, Chuck Eisenberth, Rob Ungelix, and Niall McBride is back on track after his incident spinning around on the outside wall. So interesting to see if that could have an effect on anything going down the road.
Well, there you can see your top 3 there, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to step aside for just one moment. We'll be back with continuing coverage here on RaceSpotTV after this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to continuing coverage here on RaceSpotTV of the 7th round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League. Aaron, getting set for what will, based upon the way the cautions have been, probably be up in ultimate restart.
Yeah, I would perfectly agree with that. And for everybody except Tim Holgate, well, for Holgate right now, I don't know if anybody has anything for him. This has been one of the more dominating performances I think we've seen in a long time. He just is, well, he qualified, let's take a look, he qualified almost 3/10 faster than anybody else, and that has translated into race pace.
So, the lights are off on top of the pace car. We're going to go back to green flag racing, this time by 118 laps will be scored complete. To run through your top 5, it is Tim Holgate from Brandon Trost, Joe Branch, Brendan Lichtenberg, Eric Davis. Now, last time we saw a great scrap between Branch and Lichtenberg. Will we see the same thing here again? Green flag back out. We are back to racing with just over 40 laps to go here, and a very strong restart again by Holgate. But of all the restarts, that has been the best one that Trost has been able to think about as a rider on board of him, Cam.
Yes, now he's getting better at this, but I just think he could be just a little more aggressive. I understand he might not want to push it, and Tim Holgate could definitely possibly brake check. I haven't seen Holgate brake check as of yet, and I don't think he's going to do it. He knows he has the car on race pace. Brandon Trost missing opportunities here on these restarts, I think.
One thing I think you want to do on a restart is Brandon has been in the tire tracks. That gives you nowhere to go. You might want to be a quarter car width to the left or right, so you can try to guess the start and go with the leader. And you know, if you mistime it, you do have an escape route. But if you're in the tire tracks, there's nowhere to go, and you have to not be proactive but reactive.
So we just saw that Eric Davis was battling with Brendan Lichtenberg. He's been able to move himself up into the 4th position. That broken arrow car does seem to be, Aaron, and so it is a little bit slow in those first 3 and 4 laps. Then it kicks itself up, and then it gets faster and faster compared to its competition.
Yeah, that's been about the story of half the field. Half the field really has cars strong on the start. Others don't like the restarts, but as the run progresses, they speed up. That's Joe Branch's car is another car like that. He's actually within striking distance of Brandon Trost. This is the closest we've seen a battle for P2 this race.
Yeah, as we ride along board with Joe Branch, Cam, he is much closer to Trost, and Trost already had to go into defense there, and that's allowed Holgate to again get himself a 1.4 second gap.
Yes, now hopefully we can run enough green laps where Holgate's going to hit some traffic, and then things are going to get really interesting. Joe Branch's car has absolutely come into play here. He qualified in 2nd, so he's definitely got the pace, definitely has the qualifying pace. Now he's showing he's got the race pace as he's tracking down Brandon Trost here, Will.
He is, and you can see the gap is about 0.3 of a second. It does seem to be that Joe Branch does know how to run in that dirty air. That car tuned very well for running right behind another car, Aaron.
Oh, absolutely. His car is just glued to the yellow line, whereas other cars, when we see them get to this almost, I call it the wall of air, when you get to about this far, 3-4 car lengths behind, that's when the car just starts, you almost get drop kicked, punted to the outside. But for Joe Branch, that car's staying right on the painted line.
And Branch continues to run in P3. We've had a little bit of side-by-side battling down the field. Just trying to have a look, actually. Our timing and scoring has gone a little bit wrong. Matt Kingsley's just disappeared from our timing screens. But you've got Dave Jinks at the rear of the field. He's having his own little battle outside the top 10, battling with Chuck Eisenbach from P13 on the racetrack, Cam.
Yes, and like we said, they are going to be battling in this further field here, and it'll be interesting when Tim Holgate catches up here to see if these guys are going to still be battling or not. They'll let him play through. I imagine they're going to let him play through, but you never know here in the IndyCar Series.
Well, oftentimes, Cam, lap traffic is more than willing to move over for the leader. Now, that second place guy, whoever it may be, not so much. Drivers so often give courtesy to the leader, but anybody after that, good luck.
And it's that whole thing, of course, there is no obligation to move out of the way. And it's that whole thing, especially at this stage of the race, it's that you single file restarts. Drivers who are one lap down will be placed in line, and that will remain, Aaron, for the next 15 laps. You get a caution after lap 150, they'll get shuffled back to the rear of the field. So there is some prerogative trying to fight for positions, even once you go a lap down to your race leader.
Absolutely, especially if you are in a position, and you know, we so often talk heavy first, second, third, but every position is important. Every position is a battle that each driver is fighting, and nobody's going to want to lose ground. Hence why the battle for 13 and 14th is as close as it is. Yeah, they're not going to prevent Holgate from passing, but they're not going to lose half a second, 2 seconds to let him by.
Joe Branch has really fallen off the pace these last couple of laps, and this is what we meant earlier, Cam. Some people's cars are very good at the start of a run. Other people's cars are much better once you get into a longer run. And I think that Trost's car just works so much better than Joe Branch's once you get about 15 laps in the books.
Absolutely, and I'm not sure necessarily that it's Joe Branch's car falling off. It's Brandon Trost's car coming into its own. They're running almost similar lap times. That last time Joe Branch was 0.2 of a second faster, but it just seems that Trost's car is definitely trimmed out for the long haul.
And Will, we're getting to that point. This is now 10, 15 laps into the run that these cars are going to get very skatey out of turn 2. So that's another thing that could be on Joe Branch's car. One of the reasons why it may have been able to stay on the inside behind Trost is the car may be rather free, allowing that, which right now may be out of turn 2. Watching this car, it just looks like it is on the razor's edge.
Just having a look at a replay there between Eric Davis and Brandon Lichtenberg. Lichtenberg needs to get that position back. And then on corner exit, a very big wiggle for Eric Davis. Just as you were talking about it, Aaron, that wiggle out of 2, it's commencing, especially if you're being passed and running on that outside line.
The outside, the more steering input you have out of turn 2, the worse it's going to be, and right now the last place you want to be is on the outside. In this stage, if somebody got to my inside in turn 1, I'd lift all the way off, so I made sure I was single file on the inside. Yeah, I'm going to lose a lot of ground, but it's a lot better than the alternative.
Christopher Demerit working himself back through the field, battling with Matt Kingsbury right now in the battle for P10, the last stop in the P10 battle, and you can see right up behind him as they come down into 1 and 2 once again. Now this is that thing, the later you get into the run, it's more difficult to work it in that dirty air as well. More steering inputs return to your own means you're much more likely to have an issue coming off the corner, but for the time being, it looks like that these two are keeping it right way round on the racetrack with now just 23 laps to go.
Yes, and Christopher Demerit, he seems to be having a car that can push quite nicely, but he's he spun out once exiting 2, and he got rear-ended again exiting 2. So we'll see how this battle goes between Matt A. Kingsbury. I think his car comes into play, but it might just not be set as he does clutch up.
Run. Oh, defensive move there by Matt Kingsbury. Demerit would have had a run there, but the door was slammed.
It's
big
always
time.
the case here of, is it a pro? The two make contact there in 3 and 4. They carry on going, then Kingsbury hits the wall, takes it around. There is your caution. We almost expected it. Caution out again, and Holgate just manages to get away from that one. Let's get our first replay up.
The wall.
We'll get a replay of this up on your screen. This is what happened then. Down into 3 and 4, the two make contact once, and then they come out of the corner. Kingsbury hits the wall, then comes down the racetrack, and then he has that incident there with Demerit. And there you can see Holgate just touching the wall there. We need to figure out how much damage there is going to be. Want to get ourselves another look at this on board with Matt Kingsbury. And this is them working themselves down into 3 and 4. Here you can see the first contact. Then he comes up the racetrack, hits the wall, that car just gets loose and careers into the 144 there of Christopher Demerit. I want to get one more look, and we're going to get this one from your race leader, Tim Holgate. I want to see exactly what happened to him, Aaron.
Yeah, he very close. He didn't hit the wall, but the lap car behind him just about came through him. But that incident, we were watching it the lap prior, and going into turn 3, the move Demerit tried to pull. I'm not a fan of that move right there. That just about took out our race leader. Started with the defensive line with Matt Kingsbury. Demerit finished it. He said, if you're going to block me, look what's going to happen. And, man, I just don't like to see that.
And Kingsbury has come, Holgate has made a pit stop. So he has made a pit stop, and guys around him haven't made pit stops. So this is going to be very interesting now for the latter stage of this race. It's coming up on our timing and scoring that Brandon Trost will be classified as your race leader, Aaron.
Yeah, so maybe did Holgate tap the wall? I'm going to go back and look. Something happened there. And again, that you absolutely hate to see that.
I didn't see him. I'm looking right now. Tim Holgate has not touched the wall.
He didn't touch, so I'm confused.
Now just
why would he pit?
He's going to basically...
Maybe
actually, there's an ISO WC race here involving Tim Doyle, actually, doing a very similar thing, pitting very late on in the race to try and get himself basically some fresh tyres for the end. He's going to have less than 10 laps to go. In fact, there'll be about 7 laps to go. He's going to have to overtake one car a lap, Aaron, if he's going to get himself back to the race lead. Currently, Brandon Trost has got a silver bullet between his teeth because he is less than 10 laps away from stealing a victory here.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe Holgate saw today's Homestead race and Jeff Gordon not pitting, and then being off sequence. Maybe he thought everybody was going to pit, and, well, I'm perplexed. There was no damage. I'm at a loss, Will. I'm absolutely at a loss.
How dare you... Oh, wait a minute. I don't actually watch NASCAR. Let's carry on. Anymore. But Brandon Trost, he does lead the way. Brandon Lichtenberg in second. And, of course, we know Lichtenberg can be good on cold tyres in these restarts. It's going to be an interesting battle now between Brandon Trost and Brendan Lichtenberg. You're going to get the rave around given to Dave Jinks. This time by there, you can see he's just being allowed now to go past the pace car in that number 76 car, come back around the racetrack. But we're going to have a restart with less than 10 laps to go.
A lot of hungry drivers up front that want to break into the win category. We got Eric Davis in third, Lichtenberg second, Brandon Trost in first. All those drivers absolutely want to win a race. I don't think we're going to see an inch given now.
Are you ready for some racing, Cam?
I guess I have to be here. That's what we are going to be getting here at Richmond. Every single person here, from Brendan Lichtenberg with his crazy strategy to Eric Davis and his seemingly recovery drive, we're going to be underway here at Richmond very soon.
Green flag back in the air. Trost takes a while to get back on the power then. Green flag is out. Davis looking strong. Let's have a look, see what's happening to Holgate. Holgate's being swamped right now. He went very slow on that restart. He's on the outside line. Austin Esparte's going to go past him. We got Crosno wrecking. That'll bring the caution out. This won't end it. Oh, we got Lichtenberg. Lichtenberg. No, not Lichtenberg. That was Tony Holman even. He wrecked on the yellow as well. He'll bring that car on towards pit road. But Crosno out of the race. Holden out of the race as well. Replay starting then with Randy Crosno.
Oh my goodness, what a turn of events. And for Crosno, oh, he is just the epitome of just bad luck. We had such a good run going, and gotta think old tires, maybe the weight jacker just wasn't set up, and maybe it was set for dirty air, didn't make the adjustment, and around he went, and the secondary incident, just unfortunate.
Yeah, and have a look at Holden actually. He just lost that car. I think he might have made contact with Vic Cordell, but there you can see him. Very lucky he was able to bring his car immediately onto pit roads. If he has got the opportunity to take any damage repairs, he will do so. But we are under caution. Now, if you Trost, Lichtenberg, Davis, Cordell, or Branch, you don't pit now, Aaron. You just can't pit.
No, you absolutely cannot pit whatsoever. Let's see.
How many laps are we going to be under yellow?
Yeah, is this race going to be over?
Working lap 156, we might get a one-lap shootout.
Oh, it's 157. Also, don't know if this was of note. I guess Race Control took a second look at that incident between Kingsbury and Demerit and determined that nothing further was going to be taken, at least on Matt Kingsbury's part.
We might get ourselves a one-lap shootout. Of course, these cautions are quick with single file. It's designed for a reason, to get people back racing. We're working ourselves on lap 158 now. They'll need to have themselves a 2-to-go warning this time by. We're going to try and get word to see whether or not that is going to be the case, Aaron. But this actually could well, you're right, be the race. Brandon Troyes might win this race under the craziest of circumstances.
Yeah,
as we just got someone spinning there, and that's Vic Cordell under caution.
So this race just gets a little bit odder. I have, watching the replay, I have no idea.
He accelerated twice, and that was it.
I'm at a loss once again, so,
maybe he's just practicing his, like, stuntsman parallel parking.
It'll be interesting to see where will they, he's gonna get a spot back?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, it's not like he lost the spot.
Guys,
They're
we'll
still
get
under
to
caution.
the important thing, because the lights are still on the pace car. This is going to be the race.
So Brandon Trost is going to be your Richmond 16th Street winner as long... Hey, a lot of weird stuff has happened this race, so I'm not going to call it yet.
Yeah, but as far as the spin goes there for Cordell, because the field didn't all go past him, he will be allowed to resume back where he was in the pacing line. However, we will see the white flag this time by, so there you can see 2 laps to go. We'll get that white flag out for you. It's going to be the white and yellow flags, Aaron. Never the way anyone would see a race end.
Oh no! And before this, before Krosno spun, I said I want to go back to what I said. Holgate messed it up. You can pass on the outside before the finish line. Holgate could have had maybe got 2 positions before the line and backed out and actually lost the position to position or 2. But no, not the way you want to win a race. But at the end of the day, on the score sheet, a win is a win. And for Brandon Trost, half a lap to go at a comfortable 50 miles an hour.
Oh, be careful. We've seen someone spin at 50 miles an hour today.
That's so true. So this could be the most intense yellow flag finish that we've seen. One more turn to go. Well, bring him home.
So then, Brandon Trost brings himself out of corner number 4 under caution. The yellow and checkered flags will be out as Brandon Trost becomes a winner in the 16th Street Racing League in the number 66 Verizon car. Brendan Lichtenberg will come home in 2nd, Eric Davis 3rd, Vic Cordell 4th, Joe Branch rounds out your top 5. However, the biggest story of the race, Aaron, arguably that pit stop for Tim Holgate.
Yeah, I want to know what happened there. With less than 10 laps to go, I know I couldn't pit. Now, if everybody pitted, maybe, I don't know. I'm really interested.
Now, Tim Holgate has been doing a very good job with fuel. I apologize for the dog. So, I'm wondering, maybe he just didn't save enough fuel to the finish.
Well, it does seem to be, actually. Everyone was good to fuel, and I don't think anyone would have had any issues with fuel. I think it was a tyre situation. Who knows? It's always that thing, though, Aaron. If you're the leader and you come in, everyone else can stay out just to make your strategy up.
Yep, and I really don't know what to say. Maybe his car was running so fast, maybe the setup, maybe he knew on a restart, maybe he would have had an incident like Randy Krosno. Maybe that was our longest green flag run, so perhaps that's what it was. He knew his tires couldn't last, as we saw Krosno spin out of turn 2. Maybe he knew his car would not make it.
So then, to run through your final race results from this, the 7th round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League, Brandon Trost takes victory from Brendan Lichtenberg under caution, Eric Davis 3rd, Vic Cordell 4th, Joe Branch rounds out your top 5. There you can see the rest of the top 10 up on your screen. Page 2 of your results: Dave Jinks, Randy Cosno, Tony Holloman, Christopher Demerit, Nell McBride, John Goke, Paul Jennings, Brian Simpson, John Porzak, and Ray Kingsbury. In this episode, for just one moment, we'll be back. We're continuing coverage, post-race interviews here. You are watching RaceSpotTV, the home of the 2014 iRacing.com Pro Series of Road Racing. Stick with us.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing.com has officially begun. It's all in control of Brad Davies in that 11 machine. Green flag flies. He's damn near banged up though. Now the 93 is going to push the 4 of Brian Day all the way up the wall. wide down the super stretch going into turn 2. And now the 93-39, the three machine goes around. Big trouble in the back. It's the race for the win up front.
Look behind him. They're 3 and 4 wide, trying to make a push to the front as the field gains speed in turn number 1. Kenny Humphrey, if he can rip it back to the start finish line, will win here at Daytona.
7 laps to go.
Oh,
As you love it.
baby, here we go.
You love it. The 1 gets around. The 5 gets around. Big choke for first place.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to post-race coverage from this, the 7th round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League here on RaceSpotTV as Brandon Trost takes victory in his number 66 Rising car. Gonna have a chat with the driver who came home in the 2nd place. Number 12, broken arrow machine there of Brendan Lichtenberg. And Brendan, twice, you went off sequence here today. Both of those times you were able to get away with it.
Yeah, strategy definitely played off for me. I was really surprised it actually worked as well as it did, and I knew with all the cautions that there were going to be, I had a good chance of gaining a lot of positions.
Now, you started a little bit deeper in the field than you perhaps would have wanted to. You did, however, lead 26 laps today. Had a shot at probably 2 points going for the win. Of course, at the very end, we didn't get the restart, we didn't get the race to the end. Would you have had enough for Trost had you have gone and stayed green on that final restart?
I don't know. It would have been close. At the same time, I mean, he had a good car. He was very fast all day. Was driving good for the most part. But it's really hard to say how I'm really feeling right now for a few obvious reasons, and I'm going to leave that up to the people who run the league.
Well, you come home in the 2nd place. Before we let you go, any words you'd like to say to any of your friends, teammates, and anyone you'd like to thank?
Well, I'd like to thank everyone at my team, Broken Arrow, Mr. Ryan Norton, Brandon Trano, everyone who ran with me tonight. Had a lot of fun. Couldn't quite get there at the end, but who knows? We'll see how it plays out.
Brendan Lichtenberg coming home in the 2nd place, Aaron. And overall, a good drive through the field, and very lucky for that strategy to work out.
Oh, very lucky. We were questioning it, but sometimes they know more than we do, and when it pays off, it feels so sweet. So, yeah, great run there. Would have been disastrous if it didn't, but the risk-reward ratio paid off, and 2nd place.
We're going to have a chat now for the power of magic with Tim Holgate. And, Tim, you came home here today in the 6th position. That race arguably could have gone so much better for you. It's just a case of it didn't quite work out when you came onto pit road and no one else did. But we haven't got Tim Holgate. But we think we might get Tim Holgate in a moment. Who knows? I'll fill for about 5 seconds to see whether or not he does. Tim Holgate, however, does come home in the 6th position here today. We have tried to have words with him. However, he is not looking as though he's going to have words with us. So what we'll do, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap up our coverage of this, the 7th round of the 2014 16th Street Racing League here on RaceSpotTV. And we are trying to get a word from Tim Holgate. We're trying to do something here, so bear with us one moment. We'll see whether or not it will work. But don't forget, next week we will head ourselves over to the road course. Or no, actually, yeah, to the road course once again. We go racing at Road America for 40 laps That'll be here, of course, on RaceSpotTV. Start time for that will be 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This has been a RaceSpotTV presentation of the 16th Street Racing League from Richmond International Raceway. Myself, Will Vincent, from Aaron Lykin, and from Cameron Walsh, will talk to you all next time. Bye-bye.